Hello everyone, it's Karen Burniston here with your prep work video for our Just Chicken In pop-up card class that we're doing through Stamp and Scrapbook Expo on March 14th, 2021. Now what this video is your instructions for how to prep your kit once you get it from us ahead of class day. So when you get your kit, it's going to include all your papers and your pre-cuts and things. And so we're going to do the prep work on this, the die cutting. And then you'll have a full color handout. Now mine is in black and white because I ran out of toner when I was printing this, but I wanted to print it anyway so I could show you kind of how you read this. The class or the project we're going to be making is this fun 5x5 window card where you can see the collapsed chicken in the closed position. It has a magnetic flap and it says just chicken in, and then up is going to pop our double ball chick made from our Bitty Ball die set, and then with the little chick resting on the wing there. Okay, and you've got a little place right here to write your personal greeting. Okay, so let's get started on our prep work. So when you get your kit, let me show you how you read my handouts. The first step is I tell you all the supplies that you're going to need, including your kit prep tools. Okay, so we're going to focus just on these tools that we need. So we're going to need a die cutting machine and removable tape. Just make sure your die cutting machine is big enough to accommodate the Bitty Ball. So you need to have like a Big Shot or a Spellbinders Platinum or a Gemini or one of those types of machines. Then you're also going to want some removable tape to keep your dies from sliding. So I've got my Scotch removable tape here, but you could use washi tape or that, purple tape or whatever you've got. Okay, we need a scoring board and a paper trimmer. So you can use your paper trimmer itself as a scoring board if you don't have one. You just need to find something like your bone folder or an embossing stylus or something to use in the river for scoring. But I know most paper crafters have some type of scoring board. A lot of you probably have one of these Martha Stewart style, that would work. Or I have my favorite. I've had it for a long time. I wish they still made it, but I don't think they do. I mean, I've looked and I haven't found it, but I have one of my original Score It boards. I love this one because it gives a real professional fold. So, okay, scoring board, need that, and trimmer. And your trimmer needs to be, does it? Yeah, it does need to be, big enough to do like a 12-inch piece of paper. Not like one of those little small ones. Okay, and then you need scissors. I didn't mean to put paper piercer in your kit prepping tools. That's your class day tools. That should have just said like a tape runner or just some kind of adhesive. It could be glue. It doesn't matter. So, and then a white gel pen and a black pen, and then your bone folder to be able to get crisp folds. Okay, so that's all you need for kit prep tools. And what we're going to do in this video is we're going to go through our paper pre-cutting instructions. We're going to assemble our die cutting pile, and then we're going to go ahead and do the die cutting instructions. You stop when you get to class day instructions. So everything from here on out we will do together on March 14th, our class day, or whenever you choose to watch the video, because it is going to be pre-recorded. You can watch it whenever you want. But if you watch it on the day, then you can ask me questions because I'll be there. Okay, so let's just dive right in. Well, let's look at our kit. I'm going to move my die cutting machine out of the way here. So everybody should have purchased the paper and embellishments kit. So that's this, okay? So it has the paper and stuff we need for the card. I think your yellows, I think Tanya told me that on these yellows, rather than cut them into squares, she just left them as 6x12. So you'll have to cut those in half, which it doesn't show on the paper pre-cutting, but that's the only thing that's not identical. And then you've got a little baggie of some pre-cuts from the dies that aren't included in the kit, and your rubber bands and things for class day and your magnets. So just leave everything all in this cute little packaging until class day. You won't need that stuff yet. Okay, then on the dies that you need. So if you purchase the bundle that included dies, then these probably are in a separate little thing. Or maybe you already owned some or all of these and you just bought the ones you need. But these are the 3 required dies that you need. So you need our Bitty Ball Pop-Up 1131. You need your 1074 Spring Animals, and you need your 1057 Circles Crosshatch. Okay, so these are the 3 dies that we're going to use in our prep today. All right, let's dive right in to our paper pre-cutting and technically pre-scoring instructions as well. So we're going to find the piece of green cardstock that's in the kit. That is from the Paper Cut, and they make some really nice heavy cardstocks. And this one has already been cut to a 5x12 strip for you, and all we're going to do is the scoring. So the way you read the scoring diagram is, I do it with each panel. So I don't do it like 5, 10, and 11, you know, like, because I don't know what kind of scoring board you have. So I tell you how wide each panel needs to be scored. So we want to score it at 5 inches, then another 5 inches, and then take the remaining 2 inches and split it in half with a score at 1 inches. Okay, so let me grab my scoring board here. But again, it could be any of the ones you have. So we want to score it at 5 inches. So I'm going to put my thing at 5 inches. This is a smooth cardstock on both sides, so it doesn't really matter which side you score on. Then I want another 5-inch panel, so I'm going to put my score line at 5 inches. I'm going to score it again. And then as you see, I've got 2 inches left here, and I want to split that. So I'm going to go to 1 inch and split it. Okay. Now, I was always taught that you fold towards the bump. That was always kind of the rule of thumb for me, but I don't know. So in this case, all of them are going to score, or are going to fold in the same direction. So we're going to fold in, and that's going to be our durable little flap. And then this is going to be the part for the card itself. So you can see what we're making here. Okay, so now we've done our scoring on this one. Let's move on. Okay, the next one is our yellow spotted paper, and all we want to do is cut that in half. So if it's a 6x12, we just want it to cut at 6 inches. So here's our yellow spotted paper. I'm going to get our trimmer out, go to 6 inches, cut that in half. This is all just for die cutting. So if you cut it in half, we can cut through 2 layers. So that's why I wanted it cut in half. Okay, so we're going to put that on our die cutting pile. Okay, actually this is too. I mean, pretty much everything we do ends up in the die cutting pile. Okay, for our farm floral paper, so this pretty paper right here, you've got a 6x12 strips. You've got half a sheet of this. I don't think that there is a up and down to this. It's a pretty much all over pattern. But what it says here on our cut diagrams is what we would like to do is cut it basically into 2 4 3/4 inch squares. Okay, so taking our trimmer, opening up the arm, I'm first going to do the vertical. So I'm going to put the end right out here to 4 3/4. Okay. This is extra. We won't need it. Then I'm going to turn this, and I'm going to go 4 3/4, and then 4 3/4 again. And this one's extra. We don't need it. Okay, now, if you're a type of person where it's very important that your pattern lines up inside your card, you know, in other words, if you want this one here and this one here, then you need to pay attention to which one's which. If you don't care which way they end up, then, you know, it doesn't matter. But I'm gonna do this video as though you were a person that really, you would like to see those flowers and everything match up in the finished card. So that being the case, figure out how it's gonna go on the card like this. And then this is the one that we need to put in the die cutting pile, okay? So we'll put that over there. This one, we'll save for class day. Okay, where's my class day pile? Let's put my class day pile over here. Okay. Back in our kit again, this is class day pile because that's already been cut for the right size to be our strip across the front. So we can put that on class day pile. This is die cutting pile, die cutting pile. Okay, now let's look at our die cutting pile because everything else, oh, you may have had to cut your yellow. If your yellow was at 6x12, then just go ahead and cut those in half so that you have 4 6x6 squares of your heavy yellow cardstock. And all 4 of those go in the die cutting pile. Okay, and then let's keep looking here. Our yellow spotted paper we already put in the die cutting pile. Then we have some little small pieces that are included in your kit. The big green, that's class day. We can put that on class day. That's for the back of the card. But we're going to need to do some die cutting out of our orange. We're going to need teal. We're going to need white. We've got a yellow pattern paper with the little wavy lines on it. And then we've got black, shiny black. Okay, so all of that goes in the die cutting pile. All right, so now we have made it to die cutting instructions. Okay, again, the dies that we need are the Bitty Ball, the Spring Animals, and the Crosshatch Circles. I store my dies. One thing to know about our dies, if you're new to them, is when you get them, there's actually lines on the back of the packaging that correspond with the dies in the set. So you definitely want to keep this, but of course, after you peel your dies up, then that's going to be very sticky tape. So one thing you could do would be to put like maybe packing tape over the back of the packaging so that you still have the guide for all your pieces, but then you could transfer, say, your dies themselves onto a magnet sheet, which just makes it a lot easier for, day-to-day use. So that's up to you, but that's what I typically do. So see, then I would have something like this and put it into a sleeve. And I know a lot of people, they shave just a little bit off the side of the packaging because that seems to make it fit some of the more commonly available size sleeves that are out there. So just an idea for storage. I would not get rid of this packaging. For one, you have a pretty project to go by on the front. There's a lot of information on our packaging, like, the sample card that's on there. It shows you what else we used, shows you pictures of all the dies that are in the set, how many pieces, so you can remember the instructions for when you don't have access to YouTube to watch the video. So just lots of information. It really is a good sort of proof of purchase too, right, to keep that. So definitely keep your packaging. Okay, but we are going to use the ones that I've already opened up and put on magnet sheets here. Okay. So step one, we're going to work with the green cardstock piece that we've already scored, and we're going to use our crosshatch circle. So what we're doing in this step is we're actually creating the circle that's going to be our window card, okay? So there's a very specific order that we need to go to on this. So the first thing it says fold the green card with all the folds going in the same direction, creating the bottom fold top flap card. Use scissors or a trimmer to trim 1/8 of an inch off the bottom panel to keep them from bunching in the flap when it's closed. So let me explain that. So we kind of scored this perfectly, right? So that 5-inch flap, it comes right up to there. And when you put this over, see how it bows the card? So what this is saying is if we trim just about 1/8 of an inch off this edge right here, it'll give it some room underneath there. So I'll probably use my trimmer, but you could, that's why I said have your scissors ready, because that could be something you even did by eye. You just basically want to take a little bit off. I said 1/8 of an inch, but just enough to keep it from bunching in the fold. So let's look at the difference now and how well that folds up and see it can fold flat. Not that it'll ever be flat because it's going to have 2 balls in it, but at least you got something to start with there that can fold flat. Okay, so that's step one. Then it says what we're going to do is we're going to use adhesive in the upper 2 corners of the Farm Floral square that's in our die cutting pile and attach it to the inside of the card to the bottom panel. So let's tell you what I'm doing here. We want to get this paper on attached just in these 2 corners so that when we die cut this circle, we'll die cut through the paper as well. But we don't want to glue it down everywhere because later on class day, we're going to put a transparency in the middle, okay? So, oh yeah, I don't know, where's my transparency in here? You know what, this was I have to add the transparency to this kit. This was kind of one of our go-by kits. So anyway, in yours, you'll have a transparency square that should be in your class day pile. You don't need it now. Okay, so Farm Floral paper from our die cutting pile, this one. And what we'd like to do is get that in there into that panel using adhesive just in the upper 2 corners. So maybe a little tape runner, something like this. Okay, keep it on this side of the fold. Okay, perfect. So you can see you can still flap it up for transparency later. Okay, so that was step one. And then what we're going to do is we're going to fold the card into the closed position and place the largest circle die centered on the card so that it partially overlaps the flap at the top. And I'm going to use removable tape to hold the die in place only on the flap. Open up the card so the die will only cut through the 2 flap layers, run through a die cutting machine, but do not remove the die afterwards. Okay, so what we want is we want that circle to go through our flap as well. So there's actually a double die cut that has to happen. We have to die cut through the flap first, then open it up and out of the way, and then die cut through the card itself. So here's what we do. We get into the closed position, everything folded up, and we take our largest circle from the crosshatch set, and we lay it down over the die, or over the card, and I'm just looking here to have it pretty much centered, where I've got the same amount here, 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 and here. I don't get my ruler out, but, just to my liking. And then when I use my temporary tape, I want to make sure that it's pretty securely attached, but only to the flap itself. So no tape down here, because I'm actually going to open this up completely and run it through so that it just cuts through these 2 layers. So you see I've got the flap folded under, and then I'm going to do it like this. Okay, so in my die cutting machine, let me get my die cutting machine out here. Okay, I'm going to set this so that the die is on the platform, because that's the important part. Oops. And then get my plate over the top and then run that through. And since I am going through 2 layers of pretty thick cardstock, I'll probably roll it, and then when I hear it kind of clear the die, when I see it clear the die, I'll just roll back through the other way so that it hits it twice. That may not be necessary. I don't know what kind of die cutting machine everybody has. Oh, see, I almost took that off. Don't take that off. Do as I say, Karen. Okay, so I can look and see, and it does look like it did cut through, so it doesn't need another pass, so that's good. But I don't want to take the die off yet, because right now it's oriented perfectly for this other cut, right? So I want to leave it in the exact same spot so that the little partial circle will match up. Now I'm going to put my tape down here, okay? Make sure that it stays in the same spot. But I don't want to I can't run it through when it's closed because I'll cut down into the back of my card. So now I have to take this tape off up here, which is going to be difficult because I ran it through a die cutting machine. Hang on. You know what? I could use a little, maybe that's why I said to bring a paper piercer. Because look, you could do this. Get it. Okay, so I find with tape, if I've run it through die cutting machine, I just go real slow, even though it's temporary, because it's been mashed right into that cardstock. And that's actually not going to get any paper over the top. So you definitely want to get that tape off smoothly if you can. And if you can't, well, you've got more of that farm floral paper, so I suppose you could just add some paper if you had to. But sometimes I find if I just go real slow, I can get it off without any tearing of the paper. Get this off too. Okay, and then, you know, if you ever have tape that leaves a little sticky, you can take like a white eraser to that. This one seems fine, but like if you ever have a little tape residue from doing that. Anyway, okay, now I can move that out of the way, and I can get those little die cut pieces out of the way as well. That's trash. Now I'm going to open that all the way up so that I'm only cutting through this section, the cardstock and the paper inside. Okay, so once again, let me put the thing that's important on my plate. Okay, and I've lost my other, oh no, because it's new, so I can't see it on the table, that's why. All right, and then we're going to roll that through. Once again, since I'm going through 2 layers and that's 100-pound cardstock, I'm just going to go ahead and roll it back through. Why not? Make sure that it gets through. Okay, then I can take this off. Now, I debated about having you guys do this step on class day versus prep work, but since it is more precise, I wanted everyone to have plenty of time to go at their own pace and maybe rewind the video and look at that section again if they need to. So that's why I decided to put it in the prep work. I'm actually not going to use either of these 2 square or circles in the project, but they're sure cute, so I would save them in your extras for something else. Okay, this is ready for class day pile, and don't take this paper off, but you can see we will be able to put the transparency in later. You could even tuck your transparency in so you don't lose it, you know, for class day if you wanted to. Okay, card is done. I think that's all we use circles for too, so on to our next bit of die cutting. Okay, so now the way that you read these is it'll tell you which cardstock to find, and then it's going to tell you from the various die sets that we're using what out of each die set. So out of orange cardstock, this. Sometimes you can do more than one if you have small pieces. You know, you could throw others on there, but we'll just do it one at a time so that I don't go too fast for everyone. So out of our Bitty Ball pop-up die set, okay, we would like the larger heart. So see how it has 2 hearts? We want the larger one. That's going to be the beak. Okay, and we want 2 of the smaller hearts to be the feet. So we'll have to run that back through because I don't think we can run through 2 layers with that heavier cardstock very easily. Maybe you might try, but okay. So I've got my big heart, my 2 small hearts. Then out of our Spring Animals die set, which is this one, we would like to get 2 sets of the leg and beak. So there's a die in there that cuts the leg and the beak at the same time. We're making 2 little chicks for our card, so we need this twice. Okay, so let's run that through. And that upper plate, what did I do with it? Oh, it's underneath. I probably should have some of those tinted plates. That would be really good for me. But I don't want to lose them. Okay, and so we're going to create some small pieces, so you don't want to lose those pieces. Oh, that's why you need the paper piercer, silly me, to get the stuff out of the die. I was right. Okay, so there's the beak, one beak. You know what? I can put it in my little, we'll put it in our little baggie. That's a good idea. Okay, and then in that same die has the legs of the chick. And then we've got one of our small hearts for the feet. And then our large heart is going to be the beak. We don't need the large heart. So that can go back on the set. And then we need to do small heart and legs and feet, or beak and feet again. Okay. So I try to do these prep work videos. You know, I'm prepping my own kit for class day myself so that I'm not speeding up the footage or anything, so that you can be doing this right with me. And of course you have the option, since it's on YouTube, to just pause it. So if you wanted to watch me do something with some die cutting and then go grab your pieces and do it yourself, you could just pause and then come back to it. Okay, so let me put this in the right die set. So that's orange. We don't need any of the rest of the orange that's left over. Okay, next color. We're going to do the yellow pattern paper and the teal at the same time. So here's yellow pattern paper. Here's teal. Got plenty of room to do all those at the same time. Okay, so from the spring animal set, we're going to cut 2 of the chicks from the yellow, and we're going to stencil the eyes using a black pen through the die. So one thing about our little small animals, we have lots of them, but they are small, and so I didn't want you to have to glue on like little tiny eyes and stuff. So almost all of them have stencil feature to be able to put the face on the animal. And in the case of the chick, if you were doing a whole bunch of these, you even have a stencil feature for the beak. So you could take an orange pen and do the beaks, and then you wouldn't have to glue on the little beak that's cut separately. So you can do it either way. I leave it to you to choose whether your swirls go horizontal through your chick or vertical. I kind of thought horizontal looked nice, so I'm going to do horizontal. But it's up to you. Okay. Oops, I'm gonna go back to my thing. What am I going to be doing out of teal? Okay, and then we want a bow from teal from the Bitty Ball. So in the Bitty Ball set, because it is kind of geared towards making animals, it actually comes with a little bow to make kind of a little bow tie. That's gonna get that out of teal. Okay, let's run those through. Okay, so trying not to let the chick die fall off of there because I want to do my stenciling. Okay, the bow is done. Can use that, put that in the class day, and then that goes back on the Bitty Ball. And then that's it, I think, for teal. Yeah, you have lots of teal left over. Okay, and this one for the chick, I have dropped my black pen on the ground, but luckily I have more than one. Is that brown or black? That's black. Okay. These are my favorite, actually, for stenciling the eyes, if you're looking for pens for our animals. I like the Staedtler, is that how you say it? Triplus Fine Liner, and I get them in black. And they just have a nice dark black, and then the tip is small enough to get down through those eyes. Okay. Yeah, sometimes I see people have posted cards with our animals, and I can tell that they didn't watch the video because they just try to freehand the face on, which they maybe just be doing because they like that look. I don't know. I shouldn't assume, but you can get kind of perfect faces if you use the stencil. Okay, we need to do one more of those. Okay, I was about to stencil with my paper piercer. Not good. Black pen. Okay, there we go. Okay, 2 chickadees. And then the rest of the yellow is leftover. Okay, we're blazing right through our die cutting. This is great. Although we're about to get to a whole bunch of die cutting. Okay, bow from teal, yellow, yellow, yellow. Okay, so from our yellow spotted paper, there's going to be a lot because we're going to do 24 trapezoids and 4 hexagons. So this is going to be the yellow spots that are going to go on our chick. And I am going to leave it to you. Actually, I think there's a couple different styles of yellow spotted paper. I'm not sure they're all the same, come to think of it. But so you either have bright white spots or you have the tone spots, and either will look lovely. And if you have both, because you happen to have the paper that has both styles, then I guess you can choose, you know, whether you want to have the white spots on your chick or if you want it to be more subtle like this. And I don't know what I want. I might do the white spots for our class day card. Well, I don't know. Maybe I should make it match my, I don't know. I guess I'll do it like this. We'll do it like this. But if you have the white spots, that would look just as nice. I would put them both over the top of each other because you can absolutely go through 2 layers with these dies. Okay, trapezoids. This is trapezoid. Going back to geometry class, you have 6 identical dies. So we need 24 of these, but we're going to be cutting them 12 at a time because we're going through 2 layers and we have 6 dies. So we only have to go through twice to get those. And then we're going to do the same with the hexagon. We'll go through 2 layers. We need 4 of them. So now comes the fun little puzzle piece of maximizing your paper. If you're like me, you know, you hate to waste paper. So you can do trapezoids like this. Actually, you know what? Vertical is always kind of nice with a die cutting machine. It really loves vertical lines much more so than horizontal. So let's do vertical. And, you know, you can tape those down so they don't slide around. That's completely up to you. And probably a good idea. I can see that I overlapped one at one point and cut a little bit into my other die. But it still works. So that's fine. But yeah, you could take your, you know, temporary tape and tape those down, which maybe actually we should, because then it will just become one long die that we can pick up and move to another spot. Why don't we do that? Okay. That way they don't slide into each other. Okay, so we're going to get 6 trapezoids and 2 hexagons with 1 time through the machine. I mean, feel free to go back through, but that's pattern paper. It shouldn't have any problem with that die cutting through both layers, and you can just pop them out then. Okay, of course, now we got tape everywhere. There we go. Okay, so there's 2 of our hexagons and 2 of our trapezoids. That's ready for our next pass, and then this one. Long run, 2 per time. So I'll tell you a kind of cool trick. I do a lot of class kit cutting, or I used to before this last year, where we've kind of had to move everything online and go to Zoom and go to YouTube and everything for the classes. And now we're kind of having the students make their own kits, which is lovely for me, because otherwise I'm sitting here cutting for, I mean, I have to, you know, basically if I did your whole kit, then I'd be cutting your 24 hexagons and, I mean, it's 24 trapezoids and 2 hexagons. But what you can do if you're trying to make a whole bunch of things, like you're a teacher or you're trying to make a whole bunch of things for a holiday card, you can make your die on a just piece of paperweight, like text weight paper. So see, I could cut that out and now that's my die, and the tape is actually stuck to my paper. And then I can put that over the top of the yellow and cut through, and this comes right off like it's one solid die, and you don't have to, you know, get it off of your paper. So that's kind of a fun trick if you're ever in the need to cut a whole bunch of things at the same time. But we're only doing this one more time, so we'll just suffer through. In fact, I think I'm going to just go ahead and take the rest of this off so that it fits a little nicer in my machine. Okay, one more time. So here's a set of 3. That looks like it doesn't quite fit right there, so we'll go up here. Here's a set of 2 and a set of, wait, shouldn't that work? That works. We'll do it like that. Okay, make sure those are lined up so I get full pieces. Sliding. And I will say too that, you know, in terms of that yellow spotted paper, you could change your mind, because these are actually mirror image pieces, so it wouldn't matter if you flipped them over. Some people really like to see that kind of rounded edge with a die, so then if that was something, then you'd have to decide from the beginning. But if you're less concerned about that, then you can always just make your mind up on class day. You could try it, you know, maybe with some temporary tape either way, and decide which style you want. Okay. Okay, so we're done with those. And you know what? I'm just going to set them to the side here for a second rather than get them all put back on my sheet, since that's a little jigsaw puzzle. Okay. Here we go. Okay, and then your leftover yellow is left over. So take off the excess here, or the stuff that's already used, and put that in my leftover pile. Okay, oops, wrong sheet. Wrong sheet. Okay, we've gotten through yellow spotted paper. So now we're to our yellow cardstock, and this is going to be the actual structure of our bitty balls. We're going to make 2 of them. So in the bitty ball set, basically the big die is 1/2 of 1 ball. So we're going to need 4 of these. It is going to put, now your die may be brand new if you just bought it or if you haven't used it very much, so the paper might just fall right out of it. But for others, you may have to eject it each time to get the paper that sticks in the die out of it. So in addition to 4 of those balls, we actually need to get a set of wings from the bitty ball. So the bitty ball has this little piece here, which can be either arms if you're making like a bear or a dog or a cat, or, you know, you do it with the fat end at the bottom when you want to do other animals, but when you want to use them as wings, then you put them on the piece with the fat end in and the thinner end out the end. So we need a set of these from one of these. So we just need 1 set. We're going to do 4 of these. So you have to do 1 at a time. So let's put it up in the corner, because why not save as much cardstock as possible. And you could tape that down if you didn't want it to move. So the reason this one is called the bitty ball, kind of for itty bitty, is that it's the smaller version of our surprise ball. So the surprise ball came out first, and it was like an instant sort of huge success. But what people really wanted to do with it was make all these animals. Well, they did all sorts of things with it, but that's one of the things they liked doing with it. And so then they wanted to have the ability to have a larger ball for the body and then a smaller one for the top. So, but when we came out the bitty ball, we also wanted to show that you can use the same size at the top and the bottom. You don't have to have both. But if you want to make animals, this is really a great set for that, because it does come with the pieces to be able to make a chick or a dog or a bear just on its own. But then you can get add-on sets to be able to make, let's see, fox, cat, pig, hippo, elephant, stumping myself, giraffe. And then animal add-ons 3 was a moose, a penguin, and a reindeer. So we have 3 add-on sets that you can get. There's one more too. I mean, I think this would cut. I think you can get 2 cuts, you know, without ejecting it. But what you don't want to do is, with this heavy cardstock that we're using, have those holes build up paper to where then they don't cut through on the next one because you didn't eject your die. And if you ever have one that feels like it's not cutting in a certain area, like the center of a letter, say, is a really good example. Often it's because you have paper built up in that die that you haven't ejected, and so then it's, you know, kind of skipping over that section instead of cutting through. Okay, there's number 3. I'll just go ahead and eject it after every time. But like I say, your die, if you haven't used it, I'm not sure if it's brand new, then often the paper will just stick in the paper. It doesn't have to come out of the die. Okay, let's see if I can get wings at the same time. I can. Okay, so here's our wings, and then here's our 4 ball halves. Okay, great. And I will just go ahead and eject that and leave myself a nice clean die for next time. I do not always do that. Often I have to eject it when I first pull it out to use it because I haven't taken it back. I'll put that back together later. Okay, so whatever you have left of yellow is left over. If if you're a die cutter, you tend to keep like little scraps like that because, boy, you can get a little flower. You can get several flowers out of that. So put that in the scrap bin. Or don't. That's up to you. I'm not the boss of you. Okay, so now we got white cardstock and then black cardstock, and then we're done. So let's do white. Okay, so what we would like to do with white is everything's coming out of the bitty ball pop-up. So just this one die set. And it says we need a set of small circles and a hexagon and the ear centers to use as eyes. So in this set, let me just move that out of the way. This is the ear, like when you're making a dog or a bear, and then this is the little ear center, and we're going to use that ear center as eyes. And then we want to set a small circles. We're actually only going to use one of them. It's going to be the center of one of our flowers that's been pre-cut for you. And what else did I just say? Of course, I can't remember what I just said. Oh, the hexagon, right? Oh, that's why I couldn't even see it. It's over here. Okay, so the hexagon is just going to be a place for us to write a personal greeting. We need 2 of these ear centers. It would be fine to cut through 2 layers at once with that die because it's nice and open. So if you want to save a little time, just cut a little corner and get that on at the same time. Okay, let's do it. Okay, once in, we're the small pieces again. This one's not too bad, but the other ones are pretty small. You can lose 1 circle because you only need 1, but so the circles, we're going to use that one again out of black. And then for the base of our eyes, we are going to use, you know what? Something happened. Oh, did I have something on the back of my, oh, so one of my eyes has some purple on it. Well, that's why I've got extra white. So we're just going to cut that again. Could have been some transfer from something on my cutting pad, I guess. But see, that's another beauty of having you guys cut your own kits too, is because things like that, like if somebody was kitting that and didn't notice that there was some purple on that eye, then you get your kit in the mail and suddenly you have a one-eyed chick, or a chick that looks like her eyes are bloodshot or something. So, okay, so I think we're done with that. We just need to do our black and then we're done. So from the black, we have several things to cut. So out of the bitty ball, we want to set a small circles, and we're going to glue the black circles to the white eyes and use a white gel pen to catch lights. I just did that because I was afraid that we're going to lose them. So let's go ahead and do that. That'll be good. We'll just have those eyes ready to go for class day. So we're going to take this pretty shiny black cardstock. We're going to find the little set of small circles. Those are going to be the eyes. And then we also can cut a chick and a set of legs beak out of the spring animals. And we don't need to do any stenciling or anything. That's actually just to make a little shadow. So let's do some puzzling here. We can get those 3 pieces out of there. Okay, so what I mean by the shadowing is the chick for the front kind of is being used as the eye in our greeting. And so I kind of thought it would look nice to have a little black around it. So we're just cutting the legs and the chick out of black so that we can kind of create a shadow for the one on the front. Okay. Okay, so on the little eyeballs, what it says, the other reason I thought if you glued them on today for your prep work, then you could set them aside and you wouldn't necessarily smear your white gel pen because it's going to take a little while for that white gel pen to set up. So let's look at our original here. So it looks like I put circles, you know, kind of maybe not centered this way, but so that you have kind of an even amount of area around the circle here. Okay, so I'm using my Lineco Neutral pH adhesive in my fine tip bottle. Those of you who got the supply kit, you have one of these, but they didn't come with glue. Well, we sell them empty anyway, but I like Lineco Neutral pH adhesive in them. It flows through the bottles just wonderfully. But due to, you know, us being in Kansas, which is where we ship from, which has really, really cold winters, we're not allowed to ship that glue this time of year. So use whatever glue you can that go through those bottles. And then for those of you who got the supply thing, you have a quick stick. So this is really nice because you can use that to pick up those eyes and move them into that glue like this. Okay. And then if you got the supply kit, you actually got a white gel pen as well. And for catch light, I just like a little catch light in eyes. It just makes them look alive. And so it doesn't have to be in the center because it's a catch light. It could really be anywhere, but I would be consistent. So if you're going to do kind of upper right, worried about this eye slipping because I just put it on there. Maybe if you put it in the kind of the upper right on one, kind of do the same on the other because the light would be in the same spot. So something like that. Okay, let me get that a little closer to the camera so you can see what I did, but I don't want to smudge my, where's my quick stick? Let's pick them up that way. Oh, smudge them. I'll get this one close. So something like that. So make 2 of those and just put those in the class day kit and try not to smudge your white gel pen while it's setting up. Okay, and then I had 2 other pieces. I got so excited about making the eyes that I just didn't even take the other pieces out. Here's my chick. Oh, it's still on the thing. So there's the chick cut out of the shiny black, and then the beak, which we won't need, but then the legs. Yeah, you won't need the beak at all. Feel free to check that one. Okay, all right, I think we did it. I think we did it. I think we did it. We have gotten all the way through our die cutting instructions, and so now we're to the class day instructions. So you do not have to do any of this. We will do this together on class day. And thank you guys for prepping your kit. I will see you on March 14th at 11 a.m. Pacific time. So wherever you are in the world, just figure out what time that is. You're looking for 11 a.m. Pacific time. You're going to go on YouTube for the Scrapbook Expos page, or you can do the Facebook group, and we'll be in both places with that video rolling that day there to answer some questions. And I'm going to lay out these pieces so you can get a quick visual of all of them that you have for your kit, and I will see you soon. Thanks. Okay, here are all of the pieces that you're going to need on class day, and you can definitely store all the little ones back in the baggie with the ones that are pre-cut for you, and then I would just put everything else just kind of right back into your class kit, and I'll see you then. Bye.